Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Shay Ali here with you on Inspired Online. And this afternoon, or this morning in LA, we're joined by the beautiful Dr. Connie Osterholt. Now, Connie is an amazing individual. Not only does she hold a double PhD, she is an expert in human psychology. So she's worked many years for Tony Robbins companies, being one of his lead speakers, has taught on his life mastery program. But more than about health and relationships and all that, she is really a master in helping you getting to change those habits of a lifetime. She's a very masterful coach, masterful speaker, and has worked with thousands of people all over the world helping to change their lives. She lives over in LA, so we are over in LA for today. Welcome to Inspired. Connie, how are you doing?
Thank you, Shay. I'm doing fabulous, even in these predicaments, the changed circumstances. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's such a joy, as it always is when I spend time with you. So I'm going to start with our opening question, which is, if you had to share your wisdom with the world in a nutshell, what would you say?
Things have massively changed, right? And I don't know where you're at. I mean, I know you're in London, you're in the UK, I'm in LA, and it's a little bit different where you are, the circumstances. But I think the wisdom is for today, is to stay true to yourself. To really, what I'm seeing with my clients, I'm seeing that people all of a sudden fall back into an old pattern, or they fall back into old values, what was important to them in the past. Right. And they're not staying true to who they are, what values are important to them. And it's a tall order, because the whole world is in uncertainty, right? And the news is spreading a lot of fear. And of course, we need to be smart and cautious, but you also need to be true to yourself.
Yeah. Well, let's just dig into that a little bit more. Let me start with this. How do you know who yourself is? Because there's some people out there that might be thinking, I don't even know who I am anymore.
Thank you. That is a really interesting question. And a lot of people in my experience describe them as who they are, as their role in life, or as their job, or as their business. I am a lawyer. No, you work as a lawyer, but you are not a lawyer with your identity. So, and that is maybe good if you have a little bit of time. And I know many people are really even more busy in these times, with kids at home and working from home and all of that, and navigating everything in one house, everybody being under one roof. But it's like, who are you? If I ask you that question, who are you? What is your first answer, Shay?
Oh goodness, I wasn't expecting to be put on the spot. But I would say God, the first words that come out of my head are, I'm a divine being of light.
I love that. That is very beautiful, and you certainly are. So when you ask yourself the question, who am I? Just listen to what comes up. And maybe your role, your work, your job comes up, but next to that, who are you? Are you honest, kind? Are you wise? Are you playful? Are you adventurous? Are you certain? Are you sensitive? Are you courageous? Are you, there's so many words, right, that you can describe yourself as. And if you really do not know who you are, which I think most people have an inkling of, they know who they are, just ask somebody who knows you really well. And say, well, how would you describe me?
That is a really lovely idea. And I've been seeing a lot of people message me lately going, yes, I'm having a look at myself, and I was wondering how you see me. And a lot of those people are very close friends.
Yeah, wonderful. And I think this time, although and here in LA, and I live in LA County, they have been really strict with staying at home, right? And you cannot go out without the mask and the gloves and whatnot. So there's lots of time for introspection. And it's tough at times. I don't know how you experience that, but sometimes it's tough because you cannot do everything you want to do. It's different.
Yeah, it is
But
indeed.
it definitely is time for introspection and how you want to show up, even in this time. The rubber meets the road, right? It's now or never. Who are you? How do you show up?
Yeah. Now, for those of us that know who we are, and maybe a lot of us have defined ourselves by our professions. So, your profession, I'm going to take the example of I own the Jazz Cafe. I don't mean to sort of give them advertising, but anyway, I own the Jazz Cafe. And now my identity as Jazz Cafe owner is being really challenged because I have no guests. I'm one of the last businesses that's going to be open because people can't come and enjoy my jazz club anymore. And I've literally lost everything right now, or I feel that I have. How do you stay true to yourself when that was your truth?
There's two things, right, that you have to separate. It's like who you really are and what you did and what you have.
Mm,
So what you did in life and what you have in life might have been drastically changed. And I feel for all the people that lost their jobs, being on furlough, need to change careers, that is a big step that they didn't want to take themselves, right? And they're just
mm,
thrown into. But
mm,
what I meant earlier is to really dive in and say, yes, I have a cafe, and identify with the role as the owner of a cafe. And now I don't have that. So if you combine that with your identity, with who you are as a person, then
mm.
it becomes doubly hard. But
Yeah.
when you go, well, why did I have that cafe? What was really the purpose of me having that cafe?
Mm,
I give you another example. I talked to a guy who works in the financial industry.
mm-hmm.
And of course, he's now at home. He lives in
Yeah.
New York, at home with his kids and with all the challenges and all of that. But his mission in life was to help people
Mm,
and to really be of service to them and make things easier for them. And he says, I can't do that right now anymore. So
oh,
he felt lost, per your example, right?
yeah.
And I said, well, if you really look at your mission in life, if you want to use that big word,
Mm,
then you can still do that. So
mm,
at the end of the conversation, it took a little while, but at the end of the conversation, he's now dedicating a certain portion of his money. He's fortunate, he has money,
mm,
although he lost an enormous amount as well. And he's helping people on a human kindness level. So he saw on 60 Minutes, that's a TV show over here, he saw a woman who lost everything. He tracked her down, he called her up and said, would you be so kind to accept $500 from me?
oh, that's
So
so.
he's really still living his mission that makes him feel good. He's living who he
Mm,
is
mm,
because he's very generous. And
mm.
even in this time, though his business tanked, though he lost a lot of money, he feels fulfillment because he lives who he is.
That's beautiful. And it's a really nice example. I've had lots of examples of the most popular one I've heard is people still paying their cleaners right now, even though their cleaners until recently in England were not able to come to people's homes. So I thought that was so nice, just
Right?
keeping the economy going and,
Yeah.
more than that, keeping these lives going, which is incredible. Um, you talked about mission. So in your opinion, is mission your identity? And if it isn't, then how do I discover my mission?
And that is another very good question because it becomes nebulous, right?
Mm,
So I've been born and raised Catholic. So there's not much of a church in my life right now. I have my spirituality religion in another way. But
mm,
when you get like, we had every Friday, we had the chaplain coming over, right, for a class. And the first questions you were grilled on, why are you here on earth?
wow.
We have, as far as we know, whatever your beliefs is, we have the now, right? We
Yeah.
don't know what tomorrow is. We have our past. Yes, we have the now. What do you want to do with the now?
Mm,
So it's more an expression, your mission in life, of
mm,
why are you here? What do you want to do? What do you want to leave behind? How would you like people speaking about you when you're not in the physical realm anymore?
mm,
So that's more your mission, right? And it can be broad, so you can fulfill it with different vehicles.
Yeah.
Who you are is how you're going to fulfill them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you committed? Are you dedicated? Are you joyful? Are you playful? Right?
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of people out there that are actually scared of even that question, and it fascinates me because it's probably the question I ask the most in my consultations. What do you want? And they're not expecting that as a lawyer necessarily, if it's a legal client, but it's a very valid question. And it fascinates me to see how many people don't know the answer. Um, why is that so frightening to the human psyche? And what can we do to dissolve that fear?
So coming back to the question you ask, sometimes, so try this out, sometimes people know perfectly well what they don't want,
Yeah.
but they cannot access what they do want. Well, you just flip it, right? And then you go into what you do want. But we all have been brought up by culture, parents, schools, friends, society.
Mm.
And sometimes there's unwritten rules of behavior. And me, as you hear, I'm not originally from America, but I'm from the Netherlands. And my mom was always keeping me very humble, right? Don't be too big for your shoes. Or they say that your breeches here in America, if you're worth 10 cents, you'll never become 25 cents. Be humble, take care of others. So that had a large imprint on my body, on my brain, on my action. And if you don't know necessarily what your imprint is, then you're still reacting to it. So a lot of people have been raised, well, be modest, be humble. Don't go too far out. Be happy with what you have. You don't need to have more. And then sometimes, because we're all a mix of all the good, the bad, and ugly, it's all inside us, right?
Yes, it
And
is.
we love to see the good parts, but we don't necessarily love to see the parts that are not up to par, that you don't want to show the world, right?
Yeah.
So it's easier to keep it hidden than to dive in. But when you dive in, you sometimes see, and it sounds strange, but you see the good in the bad as well.
Yeah. And sometimes, it's those experiences of pain actually that, define mission, define life, So no, I think there's a lot of truth in that. Let's take this to people that do know what they want, because there's plenty of those as well. And I see you as someone that has kind of always fearlessly gone for what you want. There's, you've done some things that are really super gutsy and stuff. So so I'm wondering what gives you that fire to go for it, because you might have this really clear vision, but there's a difference between vision and implementation.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Why am I gutsy? That is the question, right? Well, I do have a lot of courage. And I think I have the beliefs to back it up. I think I have the belief of, what I am doing has been done before. I don't have the illusion that I do things that never have done before. I know there's people on earth who do that. I'm not one of them.
Yes.
So when you know that those things have been done before, then I could do it too.
No,
And I have a tendency of saying yes when an opportunity shows up. And I think that that strategy worked for me, although it's a very scary strategy. So I just made myself, when I see an opportunity, I go yes, and then I figure it out. And I know a lot of people want to figure it out and then say yes, but then the opportunity might have passed already, might not be there. So I say yes, and then I go, my knees are going like this, and then I'll figure it out, and then I'll do it.
All right, let's talk to the people that are the people that would want to figure all these details out first, So imagine I've got an opportunity tomorrow to move to Australia. And so I think, well, that sounds great.
Opportunity to move to Australia, but then the question is that something you always wanted?
Right. Okay.
If,
In my personal example, No. I mean, it's not it's not a yes or it's not a no either. If it was the right opportunity, it probably, we'll see. But
So
um,
Australia, I like Australia, and if that opportunity came about, I was going, what am I going to do there? What is the opportunity in Australia? Just moving to Australia would not be an immediate yes for me. That
mm,
would not fit into what I want to do. But
yeah.
if I'm going and I have an amazing opportunity and it happens to be in Australia, I might say yes. But
Okay.
it has to fit in what I want to do in life. It has to fit in where I want to grow into in
Mm.
life. And if that ticks the boxes, I go yes.
Wonderful. Okay. So what we're trying to get at is, like, how can I reduce that figuring out time, or do I need to really figure it out? Do you think there's a benefit in some decisions to have that figuring out time, or is it the impulsive yes is good every time?
Well, it comes back to what you said earlier. What do you really want in life?
Mm.
And if you don't necessarily know what you want, start with what you don't want and then build it into what you want. So in my case, it's I always want to be a speaker on stage, right? And I did some smaller. And at one time, there was an opportunity to speak to 7,000 people.
Wow.
And I wasn't prepared, and it was the next day. So, and I said yes, because it was in my realm of what I wanted, and this was an amazing opportunity. I said yes, and I figured it out.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, somebody else was offered the same opportunity, and he said no because he didn't feel prepared. So it's also having that confidence and that belief in yourself that you can figure it out,
Mm.
even if it's 24 hours. And the other person had the belief, and that's what we're getting at, that they needed more time. So
Mm.
it really has to do with confidence in yourself. It has to do what beliefs you have about yourself.
Mm. Let's talk about beliefs.
Yeah.
How do you get the right ones? Because we've got so many, within even one person. How do we get those beliefs really aligned so that they can meet our dreams?
Well, first off, you have to know your dream, right?
Hmm.
So that is great. Start dreaming. What is your dream? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? What do you want to experience? What do you want to share? What do you want to learn? All of that. But when you have your dream, often people are being held back by their beliefs. You're totally right. There's a belief that says you cannot do it, or there's a belief you need a lot of money, or you need a lot of education, or whatnot, right? So your beliefs are holding you back.
Mm.
So then it's time to go like, what am I feeling? Because beliefs are feelings too. Are
Yes.
you feeling scared? Is it too big? Then
Mm.
break it down in smaller steps. Is it too small? Then blow it up, make it bigger. But most of all, what do you need to believe in order to achieve your dream?
Mm.
Who do you need to be in order to achieve your dreams?
Mm.
And then start just at first clinically writing it down,
Mm.
and then we go to, and what do you believe really? What are
Mm.
you afraid of? What is your biggest fear there?
Mm.
And when you have it all above table into your awareness, then you can see, well, these beliefs are aligning with my path to my dream, and these beliefs might hold me back. So
Mm.
then there's techniques, and you know those techniques as well, Shay,
I
to just
do.
teach that around
Yeah.
and to just make sure you have a clear path to your dream.
Yeah. Um, no, I completely agree, but I love digging into this wisdom and just, helping people out there potentially. So let's dig into a common belief. I, in fact, got a text this morning of this nature, which is, I want to lose weight. So, and the belief that you might want to have is, in fact, I've got this on one of my visions somewhere. I am effortlessly slim and healthy. And, at the moment, I could say to myself, well, I'm overweight, I need to really work on it. So that's not really true in the now. On one model of the world, but potentially that's not really true right now. So how can I nurture like these new beliefs that I want to have when the evidence is not really showing me that that is the case?
Great. And that is what your subconscious brain, because your subconscious mind, right? You have two, the conscious and the subconscious.
Yeah.
And in the subconscious, everything is stored that you have experienced over and over again. And it doesn't have a judge. It doesn't have anything. It just, when there's a trigger into that belief, it just takes action on it.
Mm.
So what that subconscious mind is doing is finding evidence for your beliefs.
Mm.
Right? It's, you have a belief and your brain goes tuck, 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 tuck. Yep, that's why it is. That's why it is. That's why it is. And they find proof for you.
Mm.
So then you just have to know, well, you know, this is how it works. When I type a keyword into the computer, it comes back with information about that.
Mm.
That is the same thing. So you need to change your keywords for your brain.
Right.
So if you want to be effortlessly slim, then maybe you need to daydream a little every day and make a vision of yourself being that way.
Mm.
More so, I think that you have to realize what it is that you really want.
Mm.
Is it by losing weight is the only goal to be slim, or is the goal to have masses of energy and vitality to do whatever you want and to just feel wonderful in the clothes you're buying and to be a role model for other women who are on that same path? If there's more than that, excuse me,
Okay.
then the chances are that you will go on. But if you have very starkly, hey, my evidence is saying I'm not effortlessly slim, but I want to have that belief that I'm effortlessly slim, they're really opposite, right? For some people.
Mm.
So, but if you go like, you know, actually, yes, slim, I do want that, but I want more than that.
Mm.
There's a purpose behind, a higher purpose behind it.
Right.
Right? And I want to be that radiant light of effortless energy and vitality, you know? And one of the action items is shed some pounds.
Yes.
So you link it to a higher purpose, which is easier to achieve.
Right. That's lovely. It's a really lovely idea, actually.
Sense?
Yeah, it does make total sense, you know, and I guess that could be applied to any sort of belief that you don't believe is true, you know. I'm wealthy, I suppose. Well, you know, if someone wants to be really financially wealthy, I guess that could work in the same way, because you could be wealthy in many different ways. You could have an abundance of
Absolutely.
love and friends and I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever else, you know.
Yeah. But you know, for every choice, and a belief is a choice too, for every choice there are consequences.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're not willing to accept the consequences.
Mm.
And in this time, and I think a lot of people are wrestling with COVID pounds, right? Because you're in a very different structure and a very different way of living. But if you're not willing to do what it takes to get to your goal, you can believe all you want, but it's not going to materialize.
Mm. And that's a key point, actually. It's about taking that action, or that inspired action, which I know that you've done a lot of. Yeah.
And that's why you're called Inspired Online, right? Because you need to be inspired to do what you need to do to get to your goal.
Mm. And where do you get that inspiration? Do you have any practices that you do for yourself to?
Where do you know, I have a pretty healthy mindset. And yes, it has been challenged in these times as well,
Yeah.
as with everybody, but I always go back to that healthy mindset. And I have that conditioned many, many, many years ago. So that comes easy to me. That became part of who I am. It's so conditioned that that is who I am. So I think mindset is really important, but also I think it's when you know what you want to do in life, right? Your mission, what we talked about before, then there are certain things, certain boxes you need to tick as well in order to do so. You know, if I'm sitting on the couch and eating chips and watching a movie, and I want to be a speaker on stage, those are very far ahead, right? Very far apart.
Yeah.
So what do you need to do? Well, I need to have energy. I need to have a great message. I need to have contacts. I need to, and then you see, okay, what are the steps? And am I willing to take those steps?
Mm. I love that, because you like chunking it down. So, I mean, for some people, it might just be about taking those baby steps. Right now, can I move off the couch and not eat the chips? That could
Exactly.
be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And, walk around in your neighborhood. Take a little bit of a walk, or walk on your rebounder, which I do mostly, and so take baby steps is amazing. Take your first baby step, but then do not stop. Take the next step and the next step and the next step. And before you know it, you're where you want.
You got there. Connie, it's been amazing to connect with you today, as it always is. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to leave with our audience today?
Yes, I think that it's really important in always, but more so in this time, to really be kind to yourself. I know people say love yourself, and that is for some people a big step. But you can start as a baby step to really be kind to yourself. You don't have to be perfect. Accept yourself. Take those baby steps, but also be really kind to yourself. It's a strange time. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to your neighbor. Be kind to the people around you.
I love that. And you don't have to be perfect, of course. We're all imperfectly perfect in our own way.
Absolutely. Embrace your imperfections. Yeah.
Indeed. Indeed. If our lovely audience would like to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
They can, of course, go to my website, and that is www.drconnie, CONNIE online.com. drconnieonline.com.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. Yes. So we'll post that on our page as well, facebook.com/inspired stage. But yeah, please do reach out to Connie. She's a beautiful soul, and I'm sure would be more than happy to help with any of the things that we've talked about today, and a lot more. So,
absolutely.
So I look forward to seeing you again in person, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Hopefully soon. Absolutely. Thank you, Shay, for having me, and see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.